If we want to start, we can start right now.
Let's go.
Okay, so this is episode 3 of the Kentwood Cast. We have Gary Harmon here, our fearless assistant principal, hangs out in the West Wing, and just an absolute person who has been dedicated to Kentwood for years. He was at Pinewood. You've been all over the district doing all sorts of incredible things and amazing jobs, and now we've gotten the chance to have you here at the high school for a number of years now. But really, we were just talking, and the point of this podcast is to highlight people who are doing awesome stuff and to get more insight into people's day-to-day and the things that get them motivated and get them pumped up, like wins and successes, things that you've seen throughout the year that you're like, wow, this is amazing. I want to tell this story, or this is a really cool thing that we do, and I want to highlight it because. And this was the end of this conversation. This is a big school with a lot of stuff going on, and I think there's a misallocation, not in a bad way, but just because we do stuff. We do a lot of things, and we don't show a lot of them off, because we just don't have time, right? We're just on to the next thing, right? Like, we do this awesome thing, and then we're just like, what's next? And sometimes I think it's good to just celebrate people who are doing great stuff and make sure that, if you're a person out in the community, or if you're a person who is interested in Kentwood, if you have a son or daughter that goes here, or you're a teacher or a student, and you just want to know some awesome things that are going on with the district, or you're more curious about how this is all working, I think this is a space for that. And I hopefully people think it's interesting, and we'll just kind of go from there.
They're going to think it's interesting.
Okay,
you're involved. Everything you do is interesting.
Hopefully. The first two are really fun. And, Jasmine and Ellen both did a great job, and it was really cool. So talk us through, I've never been an assistant principal, and, I don't know what it's like. So talk us through, what are some of the things in your day-to-day where at the end of the day, and, you get in the car to go home or whatever, if you have something that really pumps you up or motivates you, what are those things? What do those wins look like? Is it individual students? Is it teachers? Is it what do those look like?
Yeah. So I've had the privilege of doing a lot of different jobs within Kentwood, but I was also in Grand Rapids. So I got a chance to come out here and see, Grand Rapids is a larger school district, but Kentwood was starting to grow. This high school is a special place just because it's like a city within a city.
Yeah.
All within itself. So a typical win, like most educators, it's all about the kids. And without sounding corny, it really is. And we have so many phenomenal students here.
Yeah.
And people talk about the diversity, but it's one thing to talk about it, and I think people have an idea, but to live it every day, it is truly the most amazing place I've ever been in my life. To see our students interact with each other and go about their business as, with everything going on in the world, the students here could really teach the world a lesson on how you have different thoughts and opinions, but you still function under one roof. And everybody here is moving towards the same goal. We have a game tonight, a big game tonight, and it's just it gives me so much energy to see all the kids. They're all excited, but they know they have to take care of their business during the day, so it's kind of contained. And they're as the day goes on, they're going to be able to unleash that tonight at the game. But it is a special place, and the students are special. I was a principal of a middle school, and I get to see, a middle school perspective. I also had the privilege of being a principal of an elementary school. So I've seen it at all levels. High school is where I need to be. It's so much fun here.
Yeah.
Another fun fact is I actually had Alex as a student. I think my first year in Kentwood had to be my first year. Yeah. And to see you now, a teacher here, it's one, it makes me feel old, but it just shows you how dynamic our students are.
Hopefully people don't shake their heads and go oh man, how do we get that one wrong? But, I do think one of the things that I think would surprise some people, there's a few things, because I think a lot of times in the private sector or other places when I have conversations with people that, aren't involved in their high school anymore, and they've kind of forgot some of the magic that is a high school, I think they would be surprised at how refreshing some of those big high school moments are. Like and if you really like those things, it can really be motivating. Like like a homecoming Friday, or the feeling of the first couple days where you got the band in the hallway playing, and you like that pageantry doesn't exist at a lot of just normal jobs, right? Like you don't get that level of energy. And I remember my dad always saying, like, it keeps you young and it gives you things to look forward to. And I think the other thing that people would be surprised about is if they just looked at our demographic breakdown and how many students we have at all different levels of the political spectrum and where they're coming around the world, I think they would be surprised at how harmonious the students function with each other. Like if you walk around the hallways, it does not feel like it's a school that has all these different ideologies and diverse culture. Like it really does feel like everybody's kind of together, and everybody's nice to like, for the most part. Obviously we have some situations where people aren't nice, but like everybody's nice to each other. People get along. Students get along with each other in class. Like I don't know if I've ever in my whole career have had two students like get into it in the middle of class. Like it's just not a thing. And so I think people would be surprised about that because they view the state of the rest of the world and they don't understand that high schoolers don't do that yet unless they're really corrupted or motivated to do that. Like most high schoolers just want to get through the day and have some fun with their friends and keep it going, regardless of who that is or what they look like or where they come from.
Right. And another thing is, so a lot of times these students have grown up together. So, Ramadan's going on right now, and then I can hear some of the discussions and, with so much concern for their classmate. And then some other students say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna join you this week to try to see if I can get through it, and just respect of different cultures and religions. And it is something to see. And I think people outside of the school, I don't know if they, I think they believe us, but it's different, like I said, seeing it day to day. Now, we do have issues like anywhere else, but for the most part, our students do an amazing job. And I also like our staff somehow work through all the different things of all the new things that's going on in education that makes it tough for students or easy for them. But, sometimes it's tough for teachers to have to adjust to, and we somehow figure it out. But the key to all of that is just the relationships that we build. It just makes everything a little easier. So if there is an issue, I can lean on that relationship and I can pull students together, or I can pull a teacher in and we can discuss whatever that issue may be. But for the most part, my day is get here. There's a few meetings. I get to have fun with students. I get to interact with teachers. And sometimes, without sounding corny again, I can't believe that I get paid to do this. Like it is really, it's really a job that I look forward to every single day. And even when I'm off. We spend so much time at the school.
Yeah,
like,
you guys do.
It's like a second home.
For
really.
sure. I totally feel that. So our internet went out last week and it didn't affect my life at all.
No.
At our house, we had to bring the Comcast person out. I was like, I've had internet all week because I was at the basketball game last night till 9. But it does speak to like how people that want to be around something, there's a reason that they want to do it. That's an interesting, so I think one of the things when I was like, okay, we're going to have, Mr. Harmon on the podcast, I wanted to ask you about like the overarchingly positive take on the world and the disposition that you have. It just seems like whether you're talking in a meeting or you're hanging out in the hallway with friends, like you were my middle school, high school principal. I've known you for a really long time. It would be very hard to fake it for this long. So where does that like overarching, overwhelming positivity come from? Is it do you have to like psych yourself up in the morning in the car, or is it just kind of happen?
I think it's natural. I think I've always been that type of person. My dad would always just kind of instill in me that like there's no need to focus and drive yourself over things that you can't control. There's a solution to a problem, and your job is to find that solution, no matter what it is. So to not waste a lot of energy on negativity. Now, am I positive all the time? No. Sometimes I do have to check myself, but for the most part, I do. I am. Because I just function better that way.
For sure.
Again, if there's a situation where that sometimes can get negative, I try to refocus or recenter myself on just finding the solution to whatever it is. Sometimes that can be at I don't know. I guess, a detriment to a relationship, because sometimes people want you to have a different reaction to some things, and it's just not my personality.
Yeah.
And they take it as, well, maybe he's not taking that serious, or it doesn't bother him the same way it bothers me. And sometimes it bothers me even more, or they're right, it doesn't. Like, I'm not going to waste my energy on that.
For sure.
But I still want that person to feel like they were heard, and I want to get to the solution.
Yeah, and you see utility in not getting emotional about situations that could cause, like, I think that's really powerful, and I think it's something in education, regardless of where you're in, you kind, like, as you do it more, you kind of learn that that's just the case. Like, not being able to, or not perseverating over the things that you can't control, it is really, it's a skill that you kind of learn and that you work through, because we don't, as an administrator, this, like, you hire the teachers here and, the sports staff and everybody else, but most of your clients, like the people that you are interacting with every single day, are just kids that live close to the school. Like,
right.
That's who they are. Like, it's just whoever they are. Like, this is who, and I think in other administrative positions around the world of private business, most of the people that you interact with are either people who have been hired by other companies who share a lot of similar values and goals to you, or people that you've directly hired. Right. Like, those are the people that you're working with. That is not the case if you are, like administration at a school is unique in the sense that you are in charge of people that you have not directly hired. They live close to the school. They show up at the school as freshmen, and you're like, oh, this is a new person that I need to get to know, and I need to figure out how I can motivate them and get them happy and healthy and feeling good about school and their life. And that's not necessarily hard. But if you take the disposition that, like, well, I can't control how they're going to walk into the building, but I can control how they feel when they're here. That's really powerful. The other thing I kind of wanted to ask you about, you've been done this long enough and at a bunch of different places where you have a wealth of experience. Like if there was a person who was going into this field, like, that was interested in either teaching or administration directly, do you have, like, any specific advice for them or things that they should be focused on or thinking about to sustain their job at a position like this and also, like, be really good at it?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is you can't like kids. You have to love kids. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not a profession for you to get into because of your love for algebra or your love for chemistry. You have to love kids. And that means even the kids that sometimes make it tough to, want to love them. Yeah. But those are the kids that need the most love. And I promise you, beyond that, there's something within them that they'll put those barriers down. I was fortunate enough when I graduated college. I started off as my degree was special education. It was I worked with students with emotional impairment. So I got thrown right into the fire. But behavior-wise, what you found out is that if you build a relationship and that if you can get over some of those small things, you can start instilling those things you want those students to have.
For sure.
And I have never in all my years had a student where I wasn't able to reach them. Some may take a longer time, but they're worth the time to put in there. And I've also been in positions where I'm going to be real. Like, okay, this student and I aren't seeing eye to eye, but I'm not going to get in someone else's way, that could actually help this student. So I think every student should have someone fighting for them to a point where even when they're wrong, this person is saying, we have to give this student another chance. Mm-hmm. Now, the reality of it is sometimes students do things that we can't. We have to hold them accountable, but we throw no students away.
Yeah.
Like, we always have to be there for them.
Sometimes people, they are still kids.
Yes.
And, they look like adults. Mm-hmm. When they're 18, some of them are tall and have beards and all this, but they are young kids. They are the same distance away from being 12 as they are 24. I
never thought about it that way.
That's a kid. And, sometimes that means that you need to, find a way to motivate them to continue to be successful, and that's the best thing for their future, which is at the end of the day what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do. So.
And if you can reflect back to, I can remember myself, and I had my mother and father. I did a lot of things that I know I should not have done, just like everybody else.
Yep.
But I don't forget that. And they do goofy things sometimes, and as long as the one behavior I have a hard time dealing with is disrespect. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing. Anything else we can figure out, and even the disrespect, because it comes from a place of maybe them not knowing. And I don't think you can assume anything. And I think sometimes we have to teach students that what's acceptable and unacceptable in the whatever position they're in or wherever they're at. Some things are unacceptable, and we just need to let them know that. We cannot assume that they all know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Have you noticed any differences? Because again, like my first year was 2014, and I think I've noticed this a little bit, like just kind of the modern progression, especially post COVID. Like, do kids react differently when they walk into a principal's office? This is something I don't know. I'm genuinely curious, or do you think it's kind of the same? It's kids are kids.
I think kids are kids.
Yeah,
I think the students have more access to things that can potentially get them in trouble. I can't imagine growing up in a world where everything I did could be videotaped, and if I do something goofy and it's embarrassing, they could come back on. You can post it, and so I think that's tougher. But they don't really have anything to compare it to. Yeah. But as far as kids, kids will. It's always funny when adults say, "I can't believe this kid lied to me." Oh, it's like, well. You kind of bag them in a corner, and I'm pretty sure you've told a fib here or there. So, no, pretty much kids are kids. They want they want to be around people who like them, or who they think care about them, and who has not just said it, but they have shown it. And everybody wants to be accepted. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things where we talk about belonging. I think there's somewhere for every student that you can think of here at this high school, and we see it every day walking through the hallways, and they coexist with very little issues. Yeah,
that's really interesting. And it's interesting how that motivation turns into not only success, but like moments that you can like celebrate amongst the entire group, where like the teachers, administration, and students are also like. So do you? I have kind of a rolling Rolodex in my head as a teacher of moments throughout the year that I really look forward to. Are there any things specifically like graduation, home? Like, what are those things that you're like every year? I really love that, and everyone who can experience that thing should.
Yeah. So obviously, graduation. Yeah. Graduation is magical.
Really cool night if you've never been to one.
Oh, it is. I would encourage that anyone in the Kentwood area, like basketball's going on, and I'm seeing people that I may admire because that's going on. Like people should be involved in graduation.
If you're an aunt or an uncle, or and if you have a student that's graduating at Kentwood, and they offer you a ticket. First of all, those tickets are tough to come by.
They are,
but you should try to go. If you've been around the Kentwood community and you have a person that that's a family member that's graduating, it's worth it.
Yeah, you may have just sparked the idea of that maybe we reserve because on the backside there's some seats. Maybe reserve some for just community people that may want to just experience graduation, because it is something to see over 600 young people graduate and move in unison, and it is a magical night. But aside from graduation, like all of our sporting events, we have so many different sports, and I'm not just talking about basketball and football. I actually, to see the students' faces when you show up somewhere they didn't expect you, well, like at bowling or competitive cheer. Yeah, like I don't have a clue of what's going on. I'm just super nervous and making sure I'm hoping no one falls.
Nobody falls.
I just want everybody safe. But students appreciate that, and then you end up having a good time because you get to interact with parents. Again, without sounding corny again, like just the day-to-day interaction and being in the hallway, I'll find different spots. It depends on how I'm feeling. If I want to feel good, I'll go stand over here and watch all the students just kind of come up to you or walking in their own little world. Yeah. Those are all special. I don't think the school sleeps. No.
No, we're gonna have Jamar Chavis on next week, and we're probably gonna figure that out.
Oh, he's here all the time. Yes, all the time. But I come on in the morning and work out, and I'm here like at 4:30, and you'll have swimmers,
jazz
and
band,
then
walking,
and then everything like it
never
for
different sports, and
never sleeps. It's a special place in that regard. Yep. Also, we open this place up to the community, if they go through the right channels, and it's like City Hall. Yeah. It is the hub of the city.
Yeah, there are moments when after a long week, I get in my car and I'm like, what would the community do without this building? Like, this place is still going. And then I'll show up back on Saturday morning to go grab something. And I'm like, how is it 8 a.m. and there's this many people here already? And
Parking
it's like
lot full.
Davenport swim meet, or we
Yeah.
got a cheer competition, or a volleyball tournament.
Yeah.
There's something going on. And those are the things, all those interactions and all those opportunities are how you stitch the web of the community together.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you do it. You can't just, be a stranger and
No.
be effective.
Yeah, we're putting the fit center up,
Yeah.
the indoor facilities. When you talk about events, the STEM fair.
Yep.
There's something like I could probably open my phone and just list
Yep.
a bunch of things that's coming up.
Which is within the next couple of weeks, right? And it's wild, but it's a lot of fun, and I know, again, the Kentwood. The other thing that we try to do, on the Kentwood Cast is just say thank you at the end of these, like conversations. And I did it with Alan, and I did it with Jasmine, but it's really hard to on the day to day say thank you to all the people that are doing all these things for Kentwood, but. We see what you do every day, the positivity that you bring and the effort that you give. So just thank you for, making a place that we care about so great and putting so much effort in, because we appreciate it. We can't do it without awesome people like Gary Harmon.
Well, wow, that's a lot. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to continuing to bring positivity and also fun and
Yep.
and enjoying our students and staff. So
For sure.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Gary Harmon, everybody, on the Kentwood Cast. Remember, you can check out Spotify for all of our awesome podcasts. We got students doing podcasts about jazz band and movie reviews and sports that are going on at Kentwood. So you can check those out on Spotify. We just started adding Absolute Falcon Cinema, AFC, which Caleb Starnes does, to the YouTube channel. And then this is posted on both Spotify and YouTube as well. So keep tuning in on Thursday, and we'll get this episode posted. And we really appreciate it. We're going to keep this thing going.
Yeah, thank you. Go EK.
Thank you so much. Yeah, go Falcons.